Hey, cool kids. Miss Weaver here. I have good and bad news. So, this week, you are watching this Monday, hopefully, is our last week of remote learning. So, I should say it's our last week of remote learning if you have finished all your assignments. So, what that means is if you're still missing work for language arts, math, or science and social studies, you have an extra 2 weeks to get it done after Friday. So, let me look at my handy dandy phone here. You have until, let's see, so the 15th is this Friday. That will conclude our remote learning for new assignments. You have 2 weeks after that to get any missing work in. So you have until May 29th to get any missing assignments done and turned into your teachers. That means if you're doing this on paper, you need to make sure that you're taking pictures of your work and having it sent to your teachers. Like I've told you before, if we don't have a picture, we don't know that you're doing the work. So make sure you are sending pictures to us of your completed assignments. So if you have completed everything, then Friday's your last day of school. That's pretty exciting, I feel like, for a lot of you. It's the end of the road is in sight. Now, if you are my student in either my morning or my afternoon class of ELA, your parents are going to receive a message on Class Dojo. It is a surprise, so make sure they look at that and they respond, and hopefully everything goes according to plan. So this week what we're going to do, we're going to read a passage. It's called Casey at Bat, and then there's some questions to go with it. Now, the questions are set up like this. They're going to be in a Google Doc for you to access, and you're going to answer the questions. I'm also going to share with you Casey at Bat, the passage. So that way, as I'm reading it to you today, I hope that's okay, you can have the passage in front of you and follow along. If you don't want to listen to me read, that's fine. I'm going to put on here, though, at what timestamp to fast forward to, so that way you can hear the questions. Okay? If you have any questions, like always, shoot me an email. All right, I'm going to start reading the passage now. Casey at Bat. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville Nine that day. The score stood 4-2, with one inning more to play. And then when Casey died at first, and Barons did the same, a pale look, oh my goodness, a pale-like silence fell upon the patrons of the game. A straggling few got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to the hope which springs eternal in the human breast. They thought if only Casey could, but get a whack at that. We'd put up even money now with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, as did also Jimmy Blake, and the former was a hoodoo, while the latter was a cake. So upon the stricken multitude grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey getting to the bat. But Flynn let drive a single to the wonderment of all, and Blake, the most despised, tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had lifted and men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy safe at second, and Flynn a hugging third. Then from 5,000 throats and more there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley, it rattled in the dell. It pounded on the mountain and recoiled upon the flat, for Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat. There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing, and a smile lit Casey's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat. No stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt. Then, while the wrathing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance flashed in Casey's eyes, a sneer curled Casey's lips. And now the leather-covered sphere came hurling through the air, and Casey stood a-watching it in haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball unheeded speed. "That ain't my style," said Casey. "Strike one," the umpire said. From the benches, black with people, there went a muffled roar, like the beating of the storm waves on a stern and distant shore. "Kill him! Kill the umpire!" shouted someone on the stands. And it's likely they'd have killed him had Casey not raised his hand. With the smile of Christian charity, great Casey's visage shone. He stilled the rising tumult. He bade the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the dun sphere flew. But Casey still ignored it, and the umpire said, "Strike two." "Fraud!" cried the maddened thousands, and answered, "Fraud!" But one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain, and they knew that Casey wouldn't let that ball go by again. The sneer is gone from Casey's lips. His teeth were clenched in hate. He pounded his cruel violence, his bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball, and now he let it go. And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Oh, somewhere in the favored land the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. As somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out. All right, guys, so that is Casey at bat. And now we have our questions for him. So, right here at the very top, it's asking you to do the definition or description. So your words are simile, context clues, synonym, and antonym. So you have those 4 words, and then you're matching it with the definition over here. So what you would do is, let's say you thought that an antonym is A. Okay? You think it's A. So just put an A there. That's all you have to do. Down here for figurative language and unknown words, it's asking you, what does died at first mean? What do you think it means? And then right here, you're going to tell me what helped you determine the meaning of died at first. So what was the context clues or the text evidence that helped you? And then down here where it says sphere, same thing. Torn the cover off the ball, same thing. I'm going to go in and I'm going to put a note to highlight for you guys, so that way it's easier to find when you go back to the passage. So, writing my note and highlight passage. So when this is shared with you in Google Classroom, that'll be done. Easy peasy. All right, number 6, read the following lines from the poem. From the benches, black with people, there went a muffled roar, like the beating of the storm waves on a stern and distant shore. So what does that simile in the passage mean? Well, simile means when you compare two things using like or as. So like the beating of the storm waves. What does that mean? They're comparing it, so like the muffled roars, to the beating of a storm wave. Now, we live in Ohio. We don't really get storms from the ocean. But think about hurricanes. Think about the waves that come in and beat upon the houses. What are they saying it's like? I don't know. What do you think? And then for number 7, what 2 things are being compared in the simile for number 6? I just gave you the answer. Oops. Hopefully you get that right. And number 8, what was the purpose of the author including this simile? What did it help you to understand? So by having that simile, why? Why does it matter? Why did they use it? Number 9, reread the following passage from the text. And now the leather-covered sphere came hurling through the air. Multiple choice. Or no, it has right here. What does the word hurling mean as it is used in the passage? So you can just hear, you can put A, answer A. B, answer B. C, answer C. However you would like to do it. For B, which word or phrases help the reader understand the meaning of the word? And then C, create a new sentence with context clues to illustrate your understanding of the word. So to help you figure out how to set up that sentence, you might want to go up here to number 6 and see how they use context clues to help determine the metaphor there. And then number 10, what is the purpose of stanza 6? How did it impact the rest of the story? So stanzas 6 is going to be, we're going to count 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, so this would be 6. I'll highlight that for you again. How does that help you determine the setting, the character, the conflict, and the theme? So think about, where does it take place? Who is the main character? What's the conflict, and what's the theme? Remember, my kids are callback theme, and you guys say lesson moral. Good job. All right, number 11. Some of you guys struggled with this last time we did this for remote learning, which was surprising since we do this all the time in class. You're going to choose 4 of the details listed, put them in order that they would go from the summary. One of them will not be used. Put an X by that one. So you should have only one of them labeled 1, one labeled 2, one labeled 3, one labeled 4, and one with an X. I hope that makes sense. Now, there is no test. You will not have to write your own summary on the test because there is no test. Whoop, whoop. All right, so this is it. We are done. We are done with school. So what it looks like for your teachers for the next couple weeks, I still get to stay at home and teach you next week. So when you're watching this, today is Mother's Day. So Monday through Friday, I get to be at home teaching you on here. Starting the following week, though, I have to go back to work and start shutting down my classroom and get everything taken care of as far as your guys' grades. So I might not be available for our Google Meets, but I'll post on Google Classroom just in case. While we are off, please make sure you read a book. Please make sure you're still practicing math. At any time that we go on long breaks from school, like summer, if you're not doing that academic work, you start to slowly lose what you've learned during the year. So please, please make sure you're still learning over summer vacation. I miss all of you so much. And hopefully we'll be back in the classroom in the fall so you guys can all stop by and see me. Stay out of trouble, and remember, I am always here if you need me. Bye, smart kids.